Hey, everybody, this is Nikki Dance Angel and Clint with Clint Speaks, and we're back in the building. Nikki, how you doing?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Well, we've had some controversy over the weekend, not with us, the podcast, but um Chris Rocks. Um
Ooh,
yeah.
man.
So I got to turn it over to you first. That's how we do it. Um but it's been some controversy. So I need to know what's on Nikki's mind about that.
Right. So Chris Rock did this whole stand up. And he spoke out for the first time about the situation between himself and Will Smith that happened last year. And we
Hmm.
all know that Will Smith smacked the mess out of Chris Rock as he was hosting. And he didn't do anything about it. He didn't respond. Well, he made the comment, Will Smith just smacked the out of me, but there was
Hmm.
no physical retaliation. A lot of people was on Will Smith for what he did. A lot of people was on Chris Rock for even making a comment about Jada. Everybody has had mixed feelings from the very beginning. Um, some people feel like, well, Chris Rock should have said nothing about that man's wife. That man stood up for his woman. Some people said, it wasn't a time and a place for Will Smith to go off and smack somebody. Us as a black culture already look bad because we can't control our temper. There's no
Hmm.
type of emotional balance. He could have talked to him afterwards and, let him know what was up without smacking him in front of live TV in front of the world. So not only was that, bad enough, now Chris Rock has spoken out
Selective
against
outrage.
people. Yes, selective outrage. Chris Rock made a whole lot of comments that got people in an uproar. You got people that's really torn now. They don't know whose side to be on.
Right.
Yes, Chris Rock still has his loyal fans. He was smacked. He did not retaliate. But in this stand up, he did call Jada out of her name. She was referred to as a bitch.
Hmm.
Um, he said he watched the movie. What was it called?
Emancipation with Will Smith.
Emancipation, just to see Will Smith get whooped on by a white man. So
Hmm.
now you have a lot of people who don't know whose side to choose now. So I guess my question today, what's on my mind, Clint of Clint Speaks? Man, whose side you on? Like what was right, what was wrong? Should he have said it? What's up?
Look, I'm looking at both sides. I'm gonna be honest with you. When it happened, I didn't see it at first. My wife was like, she texted me, "We'll just slap Chris Rock," and I'm like, you first you thinking it's a joke,
Yep.
and she was like, "No, for real. He hit him for real." And went to the TV and they showed the replay of it like right afterwards, and I'm like, "Whoa!" So when I found out what happened, everybody was saying, first off, Nikki, that hey, it's a comedy show. You shouldn't, get that offended. Will Smith was laughing at first, and then he
Mhm.
he looked over at his wife, and she gave him this look, and he saw that she wasn't pleased, and he went up there and did it. Well, here's my thing. First off, it was not a comedy show. It was
Mhm.
the Oscars.
Mhm.
Secondly, um, I don't, I don't, I don't think it's right, Nikki, that just because you're a comedian, you don't have the license to talk about certain things,
Mhm.
even though comedians do, but
Yeah.
they need to have a limit. Now, I'm not saying everybody comedians should be sensitive, but I'm saying you right there talking about this man's wife in front of his face.
Mhm.
And no, Will Smith should not have gone up there and hit the man.
Mhm.
So I was torn.
Mhm.
As a black man, and I know you feel the way as a black woman, the
Mhm.
same way as a black woman. It was just bad. It was just bad. It was just bad. Will Smith should not have
Okay.
done that. Will know he shouldn't have done it because he went and apologized.
Right.
Um, and people were asking Nikki, well, why didn't he apologize as soon as it happened? Well, if you just hit a dude a lot, 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna apologize to that dude right then. You
Yep.
just hit him. So
Yep.
you still feeling some kind of way looking at your wife. She's going through this hair situation. She's not used to that. And your job as a man is to protect your woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I feel that Will should have, and I'm gonna come to the current comedy special that Chris Rock did, but I feel last year Will should have handled that a different way.
Mm-hmm.
He should have been like, man, hey, time out, dog. All right, that's enough, dog.
Yeah.
And I think looking back, I don't even think Will. It took him 24 hours to realize, dang, man, I should have handled that different.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about last year. I don't think Chris Rock should have gone that far to talk about her. I don't think Will should have gone that far. I fought Will more than Chris. Fast forward to this weekend, last
Mm-hmm.
weekend. Chris Rock had every right to come out and say how he felt because that man has children that looks up to him,
Mm-hmm.
and another grown man smacked their daddy. He still has a mother that looks up to him or that loves him as a son. She had to see that.
Mm-hmm.
His brothers, his family had to see that. That's embarrassing. I don't care how you look at it. And I really believe that played 99% of everybody saying that Chris Rock is smart, Nikki, for he held his peace and they said I don't know if it's true, but they said he did sue him. They said he did it the smart way. He waited a year until he got a $40 million payday from Netflix for doing a live comedy show. And that's
Mm.
when he brought it out. I think that's 1% of it, but I believe 99% of it was he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He was embarrassed. That's a grown man, and he got hit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Chris Rock had every right to speak out like he did. Now, should he have called the man's wife out of her name? I ain't gonna go that far because I got a wife. I'm not perfect. So I wouldn't want anybody nationally calling my wife a B. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, this is where I'm torn, Nikki. The man got hit. He
Right.
got smacked. And it was because of her.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of everybody looking at Will Smith, he was laughing at first and he
Right.
realized Jada was hurt. So this
Mm-hmm.
is because of her. And
Mm-hmm.
I really feel she should have said, hey, when she saw her husband go up there, hey, Will, I'm good,
Mm-hmm.
and stopped him. She didn't try to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this probably wasn't the answer. People, when they see this, that are looking now that's expecting that, but I fought Jada, you know, half of that, at least half of that. So
Okay.
I feel like Chris he had a right to get that off of his chest to answer your
Mm-hmm.
question. But and me myself, the man got hit, Nikki. He
Yeah.
made a joke. He know nobody else is gonna go out there and whoop Will Smith. And I know the woke folk and the pro black people and everybody that's straight black, they hate that he used that joke about Will Smith getting whooped by a white man in
Mm-hmm.
emancipation. You put yourself in that predicament and see how you would feel getting hit on national TV and you got to hold your peace. I
Right.
don't know. I don't know. I'm just torn between that. I can understand how the woke folk feel, Nikki,
Mm-hmm.
but it don't take much for woke people to get
Don't take
upset.
much at all.
So
Mm-hmm.
it don't take much. But that's my
Ooh.
spiel on it.
Okay, that's your spiel. So, how I feel, we're gonna take it back to the Oscars.
Cool.
Um, as a woman who wants to feel protected by her
Hmm.
husband, who wants, her husband to stand up for her, I feel like what Will Smith did was uncalled for. And I'm a woman who wants to be taken up for.
Hmm.
Um, I hold them both accountable to a sense. Looking at Chris Rock, he said he wasn't aware that she had a hair issue. So he didn't know about the alopecia. He didn't know that she had a disease that caused her to lose her hair.
Hmm.
From what he said, he
Right.
was just cracking a joke. Now we go back to years ago. We from Memphis, right?
Hmm.
What do Memphis people do? We check.
Yeah, all day. All day.
I don't know how many people I done called bald head in my life. I don't know how many people done talked about me. We call people bald head with long hair. I mean, it's just we just check.
Yep. Yep.
That's just the culture of some people, and comedians do it all the time.
Hmm.
So my thing is, yeah, he talked about her. Maybe it went too far, but let's take into account that number one. He wasn't aware, per his comment, he wasn't aware that she had a disease that caused her to lose her hair. It wasn't serious. To him, it wasn't serious at the time. He thought he could just say that. Two, comedians check people all the time. Everybody knows when you go to a comedy show, don't sit on the front row, you're gonna get checked.
Exactly.
That's the culture of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a comedian. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
hire, just a regular actor, a Denzel Washington to host the show. They didn't hire Beyonce to host the show. They hired a comedian to
Mm-hmm.
host the show. So you're gonna get what you pay for
Yeah.
when you hire those
Yeah.
people. So he made the comment about Jada, and like you said, he laughed. Will Smith laughed first, and Jada, allegedly gave him a look, and then he went up there and did what he did. But the moment you laughed, you was on Chris Rock's side.
Yeah.
So for you to switch up and then go up there and smack that man, and he didn't punch him. He open hand smacked another man. That's like the most degrading, demeaning
Come
thing
on.
that a man can do to
Come
another man.
on, man.
It's like some female come up to me and spitting on me in my face. You know what I'm saying? Like you smacked this man with your hand
Mm.
open because he
Mm.
made a comment. So we can't speak. And that's another thing. People are so emotionally immature. You allow a person's words to get you to the point to where you will put your whole life, your whole career on the line because of a person's words. And me personally, I remember when I was talking to my daughter about this today. I used to always say I'm a strong woman. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
strong woman because if somebody say something to upset me or make me mad, I'm gonna tell them how I feel. I'm gonna go off on my mama, do da da da. God said that's not a strong woman. God told me, He said, a strong woman is not allowing a person to ruffle your feathers to the point where you get out of character in the first
Wow.
place.
Wow.
So, how is that being strong? You go up there and smack this man. So, I say this by all means, take up for your spouse. The men are supposed to be a protector by all means, but there's a way of doing stuff. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to walk on stage in front of the world, open handedly smack this man. Now, he did apologize. And that's cool. But what people do, once they apologize, they expect you, the person who's been done wrong, to just shut up, leave it alone, not say nothing else about it because you apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you apologize, but you still smack me in front of the world. I got every right to say what's on my mind.
Yeah.
So Chris Rock waited a while. And then here comes this weekend. He
Wow.
finally speaks out. Do I feel like he had every right to speak out? Absolutely. He had every right to speak out. He
Mm-hmm.
called Jada a B word. Do I feel like he should have done that? Me personally, I'm not for any woman being called a B word. I used to say it all the time. All my friends was B's and H's. I tell this story all the time. I had a potty mouth. I don't talk like that anymore. Um, but let's look at reality. The culture of comedy. I've heard comedians do stand up and call their mama B words. I've heard them call their kids B words. Cat Williams got up there. He did one of the funniest stand-ups I've ever seen. Telling women like, how you gonna let another person take your self-esteem? It's self-esteem, B.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody died
Yeah.
laughing.
Yeah. I
He,
did too.
he
Yeah.
called every woman in general a B word. But now Paula Jada got called one, and now Chris Rock is so wrong. So, but then again, now I guess it's situational because of the circumstances is already sensitive. She's kind of like an enemy. If somebody called a friend a B, it's one thing, but if somebody called a person they don't like a B, it's another thing. I get that. Y'all make up y'all mind. This man is a
Exactly.
comedian. Y'all laughed y'all butt off when Cat Williams called these women B word. It's your self-esteem, B. Everybody was walking around quoting it. But
Mm-hmm.
now because Jada got called one, oh, I can't believe he called Jada that. That's the culture of comedy. That's the culture of stand-up. So then he made the comment about the movie. He watched it just to, watch him get whooped by the white man. I laughed. I laughed. I'm spiritual. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
so woke. Like, oh my God, he said something. It was about the white man. I didn't even think about color when I heard it. Honestly, that's not the first thing that came to my mind. I know where he coming from.
Right.
And like, do I feel like it's right morally in real life that he's watching something to, see Will Smith getting beat up? No, not in real
Right,
life.
right, right.
But again, he's a comedian. So they develop jokes from their situation. It was funny. I think people are so sensitive. It's like, oh, he's talking about we watched the movie to get him beat up. You think that man's just sitting at home watching that movie on replay just to watch Will Smith get beat up?
That's the part. Before I go any further, we're going to take a short break because again we are recording audio and we're going to put those ads in there. So we'll be right back with you. So we're back. You know what? That question, Nikki. Nah, we know Chris Rock wasn't doing it. And here's the thing: some jokes are not meant to be taken that doggone serious, man. It's just not that serious. Now, I'm not for any man calling my wife or anybody's wife out of her name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for that. I will say Jada, Will, they put themselves in that predicament. And now listen, I've done some things and people were spreading rumors and talking about me, even when it wasn't true. It was the fact that I made myself look as if it was going on. I fit the script. And honestly, even back then, I was like, I gave them the right to talk about me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this then. I was in my 30s, early 30s. I was like, I gave them the right to talk about me. I just had to clean this up. And I did. So I don't know what it's gonna take because right now it's looking like Chris Rock ain't having no part of, hey man, we good, man. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
Chris Rock having any parts of that. Tony Rock, his family, they're
Mm-hmm.
not having any parts of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, some people were saying, Nikki, Chris Rock putting himself in a position to get slapped again. They were actually
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah.
I will say this. Will has a choice to make now. Either he can keep it quiet, which I think that's the best thing to do. But knowing me as a man, forget you then, bro. You know what I'm saying? Man, I did what I did. I apologize. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry for that. And I'm not big on saying the word sorry and putting me in front of that. But
Mm-hmm.
I would tell him I was sorry for that, man. But if it just goes on and goes on and goes on, I'm not saying Chris Rock is going to do that. You, you know what? Will be, he needs to be the bigger man and say, I'm not responding to that. But
Mm-hmm.
if he did, Nikki, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would say, hey, you from a Christian perspective,
Mm-hmm.
he did his part. He apologized. He said he was wrong. He
Mm-hmm.
said it on national TV. Will was being real in one point. What I mean, Nikki, again, people saying, why didn't he apologize when he apologized at the Oscars to Chris Rock and he apologized to everybody else? He just smacked the man. He wasn't gonna apologize. Who was gonna apologize at
Exactly.
that point?
Exactly.
But he didn't just let it ride forever and you didn't hear nothing from Will Smith. He got on national TV and apologized to that man. He said he tried to reach out to him. But again, and it's just one of them, you just can't help but to put your butt in there the whole episode because both were wrong
Yeah.
and both had a right. It was like Will did the right thing by apologizing, but I understand Chris being who he is, man. Like, dude, I ain't even no fighter. He admitted that, like, dude, you play Ali in the movie. I play Pookie.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that dude bigger than I am, and you let everybody talk about you with this entanglement. They called you a B. You didn't do nothing. You didn't even do nothing to the dude that hit your woman,
Mm-hmm.
but you hit me. And you know, it's like every time you try to take off a wheel, it's like you really can't. And you feel Chris, and then there's a certain part. It's like, well, Chris, maybe you know took it a little bit too far, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even if he saw Will laughing, if Jada wasn't laughing, stop. Like,
Right.
you don't. Me and my wife was talking. I wish. Well, I don't want to pick up nothing to make all kind of mic noises, but comedians need to understand too. Again, if you go to a comedy show, Nikki,
Mm-hmm.
if you go there, you mention the front row, everybody knows that's a big no-no.
Yep.
But if you step in the house, if you step in the building, you are a target
You
as
are.
soon as you step in. And you
Yep.
better not be late and you better not get up to go to the bathroom. You
Right.
have made yourself
Right. Right.
So so you a target. But the thing is, it wasn't a comedy show. It was the Oscars.
It's the Oscars.
Chris, it's like, that's that man wife. If she's looking like she's not feeling comfortable with what you're saying, stop. And comedians feel like, well, I'm a comedian. I got a license, and it's right here that says I can talk about you as much as I want to and say anything
Mhm,
about you. No, dog. No, you can't do that. But again, you're just torn because it is a comedian on the stage.
mhm,
I just feel Will. At one time, Nikki, and I'm gonna turn this back over to you. At one time, Will, when he started cutting up,
mhm,
not when he was doing the Ali, I don't think it was doing the Ali move, but he started cutting up.
mhm,
He called his exercise regimen and his diet willpower.
mm.
And I really feel that he should have practiced willpower
Power.
and just like, okay, dog, just because that's another comedian. Evidently, y'all, well, they say they had some back and forth a little bit, but it wasn't that bad to the point where you were like, hey, Chris, bro,
Mhm,
stop. Like, stop.
mhm,
Just stop, Chris.
mhm.
But I just,
He
I
lost
guess
it.
because I got a wife, it's like,
Yeah.
man, she heard something last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know if it was Prince Tub that fell in the bathtub. Something happened. She heard something outside. Oh, she thought somebody was wiggling the doorknob trying to get in. Oh, I
Mhm,
immediately went in, you know, I
mhm,
don't want to say, but yeah, yeah.
mhm.
We no, this is Memphis. We're not doing that.
Exactly.
I don't but anyway,
You ain't got to
she
say
was
it. We
right.
don't want to jar you out here on this podcast.
Exactly, exactly. So she was hey, that was the right thing. Right. Nikki, my girl, I'll tell you, look, Nikki. So she was telling me, she said, Clint, she said, oh man, I just love you. She said, you my, she was telling me this today. She said, man, you jump into action whenever I call. She said, because it was a couple of times here recently, and you just sprang into action. That's what
Mhm,
we do. And like you said, man, you are a woman, you are a female, you are the feminine gender. You have a right to be protected by your husband. But
mhm.
let me ask you,
Okay.
how would you have felt if your husband protected you in that manner?
Whew. Okay. So I think, like you said, Jada should have been like, "Will, come on, sit down. No, I'm good. I'm good." She should have kind
Hmm.
of made that gesture. I don't. It's hard to say from the outside looking in because we don't know how quickly stuff, escalated. So
Yeah.
maybe she didn't have time to grab him. I don't know. We really don't know what was on her mind at the time. Or maybe she could have been one of them people like, yeah, now you got yourself into something now. So watch this. Me personally.
Which I believe.
I'm gonna get on Jada too. There needs to be another conversation because
Yeah.
I feel like y'all men just so butthurt about Jada doing the same thing y'all been doing for centuries. But anyway, that's another
No,
conversation
no,
for another day. Um,
no. We got to talk about that
we
one. We
gonna
got
talk
to
about
talk about
that.
that.
We definitely gonna talk about that. I I wouldn't have wanted my husband to risk it all and respond in that way because I feel like we personally should be examples of how Christ would handle situations. We have to remember that everybody's watching us.
Hmm.
We had they like you said, children watching. This was a family show. So,
Yeah.
children
Yeah.
watching this stuff, you got people looking up to you, and people need to learn how to handle situations. So then after that, you had people going, man, you better shut up. I Will Smith you.
Yeah.
Business
Yeah.
did that before getting into a fight. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I don't think that was the time or the place. Now I can say this: if my husband would have called him after the show and said, "Hey, bro, we need to talk. That comment you made wasn't cool. I don't appreciate it. I think X, Y, Z, or whatever have you." I feel like that should have happened. Um,
So
Now,
you would have been okay with your husband handling it that way.
yeah, I would have been good with you
Yeah.
handling it man to man. It was just to me how it was handled. Now, if me and my husband walking, another dude walk up to me, spit in my face, or whatever the case may be, my husband got a pimp slap him or whatever he do
Immediately.
to
Immediately.
physically stand up for me at that moment and defend me at that moment, hey,
Mhm.
okay. But I'm their wife too. I'm jumping in. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm a female, but we fighting together, asking questions later. Why? What
Yeah,
the
yeah,
hell?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, but you know we have got to talk about that Jada thing, and I know people are gonna be like, man, that's old. It's not old because stuff like that goes on now.
Yeah, I feel like when I didn't mean to cut you off, my bad.
No, you good.
I feel like when Will Smith exploded, it wasn't just because Jada didn't seem happy. Will Smith already had so much other stuff going on. Remember, all that stuff was already going on in house.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's like, nah, man, I ain't finna keep looking like no sucker. You ain't that. I think that was just that's just what topped it off.
And I think he admitted that.
Yeah, so I don't even think it was more so of what Chris Rock said. My bad, Chris. I ain't trying to put you in no more mess, Chris Brown. It
I'm
wasn't you,
telling
boo.
you.
It wasn't
I'm
you.
telling you. I'm telling you.
I don't think it was so much of what was said. I think it was just the timing. He said he made that comment at the wrong time, and Will Smith was done. He had enough. And
Yeah.
so I believe he let out everything right there with him, and it was just over with. Because these people are celebrities, but people look at celebrities like they're not people.
Exactly.
These are regular
Exactly.
people. And it's even harder for them because they don't know how to handle their issues. They got open access to all the drugs, all the sex, all the whatever that they need to be able to escape from the real world.
Mhm.
Whereas
Mhm.
we got, people like us, regular people, people go to drugs, weed, whatever the case may be, but their variety of choice to escape the real world is so much larger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
so for them to be able to honestly cope with life the way that they should, it's harder
Mhm.
for them. It's even harder for them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something about I was gonna comment on something that you said, but let me ask you this: do you want to tap on this Jada thing right now?
I do because I was looking at it's flashing at me now. We're gonna go ahead and go to a short commercial break, and we're gonna come back to it.
Okay.
And we're back. So yeah. So
Mhm.
we need to tackle that Jada issue.
Come
Now,
on, let's
I
tackle
I
Jada.
I know what you're saying, Nikki. Jada did what we do. You
Uh-huh.
talking about the entanglement part. Now
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at the other part
What's the other part?
that Jada just basically the way that she treated Will. Now I'm not saying men don't treat because as a man, I've been around men all my life, and I know what men do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it as far as like that I'm not a man. I'm just saying I don't do that.
Right.
Um, with that being said, I just
Mm-hmm.
think that Jada, I really think that Jada is Will's kryptonite. So I really think that's
Mm-hmm. What Jada
I
do?
don't think Jada feels that way the same way about Will as Will does about her. And
Okay.
and like you said, men do it. But I'm saying in this case, it is so in the wide open as a celebrity. And I really think Will is one of them cats that he don't see it or he don't want to see it. And
Mm-hmm.
I really think he's recognizing it. I think he's recognized it. If he hasn't before that slap, since then, who he has. I really believe. Nobody has told me that, but I really believe Will is looking like, man, I'm constantly with this woman going through something, and
Mm,
it's always coming out in the open
mm,
in front of millions. So
mm,
I do feel
mm.
you on that, Nikki.
Uh-huh.
The thing is,
Okay.
Jada, I'm trying to respect his wife because
No, let
it's
it
just
out.
like
Let's talk. Come on, because I got some stuff to say.
if that was if that was a couple to where you had to choose God and Satan, I'm just gonna say I don't see nothing godly about that one.
About Jada.
I don't see nothing right now.
Hmm.
I just think Jada is. Jada is living in the spirit of Tupac.
Mm,
And I really think she has never let that go. I don't know what Tupac did to her. I don't know what kind of friendship or other kind of ship they had, but
mhm,
Will has always been in Tupac's shadow in Jada's eyes. And Will, who is not a bad boy, even though
mhm,
he's from West Philly, has to portray a bad boy image to her at least once to show her, hey, baby, I got you. And it cost that dude.
mhm.
I again, I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm just gonna say I can't. Or if I can admit a man is wrong, I got to say Jada is wrong too. Jada is flat footing. She's not there.
Okay.
She is
Now,
the problem.
she is the problem. I was say this. Y'all still but her because this woman did what y'all been doing for centuries. He laid that out
No.
there. Listen, he spread that bad boy like Betty Crocker. Let me say this. Not Betty Crocker. What's the butter called? Anyway, you good. Listen. Okay, we got Jada. We got Jada. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z? He don't ever appear to love Beyonce the way that she loves him. She's always,
Wow.
oh, I love me some Jay-Z. And he like, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
It's never the same response. Now,
Right.
you got Jay-Z publicly cheating on Beyonce. Publicly. And you got Beyonce, I'm just gonna stay with my marriage because I feel like I should do that. Marriage is strong. Marriage is this. Marriage is that. And you got Beyonce. You got fans saying, you know what? If Beyonce can stand by her marriage, I can stand by my marriage too. You got people saying, man, Beyonce, she stayed with Jay Z, man. I respect it. You got dudes saying, man, I respect it. She made her song, she let it out, she stayed with her man. Man, Jada go out and do it. That dirty dog, and Jada just hurt Will Smith. And what you just say? He went through so much stuff with her, man. You know how much stuff we go through with y'all. And I feel not saying this. Hold on, I want to put this out there. I am not saying that two wrongs or she should have done it. I'm not saying that she should get revenge to represent the women. I feel like Jada is equally as wrong as any man who has done his wife like that. Okay, so let me
I
say
agree.
this,
I agree.
say that. But the way that I see these men dog and Jada, because naturally, men, y'all, I'm telling y'all can't handle what the heck we go through. And I've heard so many men talk about how Jada is a dog. Have you ever heard Sierra? Sometimes I wish I could act like a boy. You ever heard Beyonce? If I were a boy, these women tired. Yeah, so they manning up on y'all behinds. And they're entangling and they doing other stuff. And Jada just ain't right. She just be mistreating Will and Will is hurt. Now y'all care. But y'all got 5 baby mamas. All y'all kids are 1.5, 1 3/4. All the kids the same age by different women. And it's like, oh, she's a strong. Let me tell you, I had an ex to tell me my grandmama was a strong woman. She was strong because my granddaddy cheated on her down through the years, and she was a strong woman. She stayed. But when Jada cheat on Will, she a dog, and he shouldn't go through all that. But a woman who stays by her man and go through that, y'all say we some strong women. I respect, I love my black women. Y'all are strong. You put a man to get his speech. I just want to thank you, baby, because you put up with me and all my mess, everything I done put you through all these years. You know, put up with me, and I just love you so much for it. And he always he gonna tell her, I thank you for putting up with my mess. But Will can't put up with Jada mess. Jada can't say that same speech one day at a birthday party for Will. Man, y'all but her because she did that, man. Like how y'all been doing us, man. Just saying. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with cheating. I'm not a cheater. I don't stand with it. I'm saying y'all need to come on. Y'all need to come on.
Hey, but y'all be saying that we can't take a we dish out. Women really can't take it either now.
Okay. Do tell.
Y'all can't take it either now
Do
because see
tell.
you really snitching on the women now because Now y'all trying to follow suit.
We tired, man. We tired. We tired of these men. We tired of crying all the love song, unbreak my heart. We tired of that mess.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing, like you said a minute ago, that men, I'm sorry, got 5 baby mamas. I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons why men got 5 baby mamas.
Why?
The Bible, the word of God says it has a verse in it, who can find a virtuous woman?
Okay.
And it goes on to say, this is what we do, nigga. Her price is far precious than rubies, and we don't stop. I think I'm the first dude that just looked at that like, hey, I don't know where y'all going. I'm still trying to find out who can find a virtuous woman. The question, who can find one? Then who can't find no virtuous woman. So I guess that's why he got 5 baby mamas.
So
Who can
that's
find a virtuous
Proverbs.
woman?
That's in Proverbs 31. So you got to sleep with a woman in Proverbs 1, in Proverbs 2, in Proverbs 3, in Proverbs 4 just to get to the virtuous one in 31. Do you have to sleep with all of them?
Who can find her?
You ain't gotta lay down with everyone till you get to the right one. This man gonna try to throw the Bible on. Nope, Jada, I got you on this one, man. Nope, he ain't doing it.
Who can find her? Because hey, everybody rolls straight past that scripture. Her price is far more precious. I'm still stuck at who can find her?
Listen.
Who can find her?
Man, listen, we out here. But in the meantime, we getting done wrong by y'all jokers who ain't doing right. Y'all ain't doing right. Now y'all, I ain't something at you.
Right. So when you say we ain't doing right, what you mean, Nico? Like do you think the men ain't gonna do right because they just dogs? You think men don't do right because they done talked and they have asked and they have pleaded and they have put down, hey, this is what I like. I'll give you what you like. Can you give me what I like in return? Do you think any of that goes into play?
I think it's a lot of different reasons. I'm not saying every man who cheats is a dog. Some men have been, and now hold on, let me say before I say anything, it's still wrong on either side. Woman or man, it's still wrong to cheat. Work it out, pray about it. If God tell you that person is not for you, then you move accordingly, but don't sit and cheat. You will not be blessed that way. But I do feel that some men probably do say, hey, babe, like, I need you. Let me tell you a true story about some church members I had. A minister, this man, true story, his wife, around a certain part for some months out of every single year, she don't want to be touched. She don't want him touching her. She won't touch him. She wouldn't give him any type of affection, no type of intimacy or anything. And he kept saying, like, why don't you want to be touched? Why don't you want to be bothered? Why won't you, be intimate with me? She ignored him. She was mean. He told her one night, okay, if you don't show me any type of attention, I'm going to go out here tonight and I'm going to cheat. So he left that night. He stayed out all night. He didn't do anything. He just sat at the bar the whole night. When he got home, she was in the bed asleep. She didn't even care. Broke his heart. So he went out for real. He got entangled and he did cheat. They have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 4 girls together. They both only have those 4 girls. He cheated. He had 1 boy with this woman.
Wow.
Okay. Let's fast forward. She really was like this, like for months. She had this issue. She went to the doctor. Do you know she was diagnosed with seasonal depression, which is a real live chronic disease that at a certain season of every year, she goes through a deep, dark depression. She can't be touched. She can't be, in this medicine that she had to be put on. This messed up. This man went out and messed up his whole marriage, had a baby by another woman. And this lady really did have a severe mental illness that happened during the season. It was rare, so a lot of people didn't know about it. Wow. So I say, the enemy don't play fair. Everything ain't what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? Let's pray about stuff before we go make irrational decisions. We make permanent decisions in temporary situations.
Mhm.
Oh, she won't do this. Oh, he won't do this. Oh, I'm finna just do this. I'm finna do this. Instead of just praying, okay, God, why won't he do this? Why won't she do this? What is going on? Reveal to me what the actual issue is so that we can work past this. Had he done that and waited and allowed, God had the patience to allow God to really minister to him, God would have said, go to the doctor. God would have given him some sort, because he had a relationship with God. God would have given him some sort of resource, some sort of confirmation that something just wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of times we take situations into our own hands and we just go out there and make irrational decisions. We go out there and make permanent decisions in a temporary situation. And now we stuck with this outcome when our situation changes within the next month or however long. So just
I,
with go ahead.
I do feel that he was wrong. He
Okay.
was wrong. Um, I have to ask though,
Hmm.
before destruction came, and I'm not calling the child destruction, I'm talking about the marital part. There
Hmm.
was a warning. He did ask, why
Hmm.
won't you let me touch you? What
Right.
was her response?
Well, she didn't even know. She didn't know what was wrong with her. She
And
just
see,
kind of brushed it off, but she didn't know she had a real live mental health issue.
right. So here's the thing. Like you mentioned that he, especially being a man of God, he should have prayed and God could have revealed it to him. But what about her? I mean, if she's the one going through it in her body, shouldn't God reveal it to her too? And especially if he's asking her, like, why won't you let me touch you? And she just, like,
But
you
think
know,
about it. I get that. But if you're not in your right mind, or have you ever been so down and going through so much that you just say, man, can you pray for me? Because I ain't even got the strength to pray. If she going through it
yeah,
so bad, she might not have been mentally there to say, okay, God, I don't know why I feel like this. Can you just show me, reveal to me? If you chronically depressed, like with some kind of rare type of mental illness, I don't think your mind is going to be equipped to be up in the spirit like that, to be like, okay, conscious about praying about what's going on with you at the time. I just don't see that happening. Um,
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. The only problem I got though, I'm with you on that. Because I've been there even in the marriage I'm in now. Like not as far as don't touch me, as far as man, please pray for me.
mhm,
Like because I'll be stressed out from work, stuff like that. Um, but something don't add up with him asking her, Nikki, why won't you let me touch you?
mhm,
And for him, I really believe from the way it sounded, he was mature enough to go to her and ask. So
mhm,
that means he would have been mature enough to hear her if she had said, man, just pray for me. I really believe it went a different route. I really believe for him
mhm,
to go out and be like, forget it. She
mhm,
had to be nonchalant about that. Again, we know why. We know why.
mhm,
Because she was going through clinical depression. She was going through that
mhm,
seasonal depression. But something should have told her, go to the go find out something. I'm not blaming. He was wrong. Remember, I said that at first. He was
mhm,
wrong.
mhm.
And he has a child to prove that. Again, I'm not saying the child is mistaken, none of that. I would never do that. It's not the child's fault. I just really believe, he's 100% wrong. With also along with that, I really do, even though she was going through that, and my heart goes out to her. I think her response was to a certain extent to where he was like, I'm going out. I really, again, I think just listening to you talk, Nikki, I think that
Mhm.
dude was mature, which means if she had came to him and responded to him with, just pray for me. I don't know what's going on. I think he would have been more understanding instead of, man, I'm going out. And you
Mhm.
ain't give me, I really think the way she responded was kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, he said she was nonchalant. She acted like she didn't care. But when a person is just say a person, you got bipolar schizophrenia, and they going through an outrage. I have family members who have suffered from that. So they went into an outrage and just minds just everywhere, and they started acting crazy and talking to people who weren't there and all. When you dealing with mental illness, ain't no person who's having a bipolar schizophrenic situation, a moment at the time, they ain't gonna be speaking and going crazy, then stop in a minute. Just pray for me because I can't pray for myself right now, and then jump right back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it
Right.
is. It's real. So I honestly, her whole reaction and all that. Now I feel like she knew something was wrong. So eventually she went to the doctor. But as she was going through it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect when you're going through a mental illness, because again, I've seen it up close in person from multiple people. When you going through that stuff, your mind don't come to the logical decision to say, hey, pray for me. I'm going through right now. Like how you and I would do if we was just dealing with a situation.
Yeah.
So she was being mean. She didn't care. She was being sarcastic. She didn't want to be touched. So the reason why I brought that situation up is because there are multiple reasons that people go out and cheat. You know what I'm saying? So that was his reason. But I feel like that's something you wanted to do anyway. Why would that be your resort if you don't do such and so? I'm gonna go out here and cheat. I feel like honestly, that's something you kind of want to do in the first place. You want to
Uh-uh.
come on, give it to me, Clint, because I feel like
No.
that's
Hey,
the
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what I know.
case.
And De'Ara has told me what she didn't tell me. Let me say it like this. She was like, man, the way you put certain things out there, you making it seem like you was just like, and I said, you know what? If I ever speak on it again, I'm gonna clarify that because it wasn't like that. But the experience, do you know that you know
Yeah.
my story?
Mhm.
Ev- you said it before. This was tonight. You said everybody that cheat don't want to.
Mhm.
You can
Mhm.
have somebody at home. Trust me, you can have somebody at home that you are good with in that area.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, they withhold that from you, that hurts.
Mhm.
And you have that talk. Why won't you let me do this? Why do I always have to come? Why do you have that talk? And you get the nonchalantness and you get and that's talking with I still call him my pastor, my uncle.
Mhm.
I haven't seen it, but he said the word of God does say, and he paraphrased, you can you can call somebody else to sin.
Mhm.
Not saying that you going out doing something wrong. It doesn't always have to be sex. It can be something else. But you can literally call somebody to sin, and that blood is on your hands.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
really believe in that area. And that's why I touch on it so much. And I know it bothers some people.
Mhm.
The people, and I'm gonna say this on the podcast, the people that it bothers, Nikki, is the people that's not sexually active. They don't have a high sex drive. So anytime you mention the word sex, it bothers people like that. But you can spend your money on them all day.
Right.
It ain't all about sex, but they never say it ain't all about taking me shopping. It ain't all
Mhm.
about spending your money on a car. It ain't all about running your credit for a house to get us to put us in. But when it comes to sex, that's where the brick wall comes in. It ain't all about it. It ain't all not about it either. And
Mhm.
people have to understand women. Let me say this first, Nikki. Men, if we cheat, and when we cheat, and I say we, not saying I'm doing it because I'm not. I can openly say that. I'm just saying, as the male gender, we are wrong.
Mhm.
Regardless, we are wrong. If a woman cheats, she is wrong. It
Agreed.
is wrong.
Mhm.
But I have to hit on this point because ministers won't. I've only been to two churches, and Memphis is probably the church haven for in the
Mhm.
U.S. We got
Mhm.
churches on every corner,
Mhm.
but ain't hardly none of them telling the women what to do. Now they'll tell the men, "Hey, control your flesh." Men, you work. If you don't work, you don't eat. Men, when you get through working, your job ain't through. Come home and help clean up. Men, help with the children. Men, stay in the house. Men, when it comes to women,
I disagree.
no, I'm saying as far as my experience,
Okay, in my
go
experience,
to
I grade
churches
everything on the women and
for
not
real.
the men. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy because the churches I belong to, they
Mhm.
will not say nothing to the women. It was so bad till my ex-wife sat beside me in one service, and I won't call the name of the church. And she
Mhm.
said, "This ain't right." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "You were right." And mind you, by this time, Nikki, I had stopped begging and pleading pastor and the ministers and everybody to say something. I'd stopped for months. She said, "He don't say nothing to us. I got a soul. What if I don't be intimate with you enough? What if I don't have sex with you enough? What if I'm not treating you right? We got a soul too. We need to hear that we wrong too." And I'm like sitting there like, wow. In the
Mm,
churches I belong to, they don't even talk about sex and money at all unless they're talking about the negative part of it and
mhm,
roasting the men. And I've
mhm,
sat under pastors that, hey, I know y'all, get tired of this, that, and the other, but until y'all get it right, and it's like, man, we're not gonna be right before you talk to the women, dog. We're not gonna be right. We're not perfect. If you
mhm,
wait on us to be like Jesus, 100%, bro, it ain't happening.
mhm,
It ain't happening. Like, but that's why I be on it so much, Nikki, because
mhm.
people don't talk about it. It's like
I think they're
everybody's
afraid to.
side with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people are afraid to, and a lot of people are afraid to touch on the topic of sex as if it's just some bad thing in the church. Now in the world, you're gonna hear about it all the time,
Right.
but in the church, a lot of people are afraid to hit on it. Like, oh my God, it's horrible. Man, God made this, so hush. Let's
Exactly.
stop being so sensitive and let's talk about what's real because that's why a lot of people in the Christian community are uneducated because nobody wants to talk
Thank
about
you.
it. But in
Thank you.
the churches that I've experienced, no, it's people don't talk about money in a positive way. It's always money is the root of all evil. No, the love of
Love
money
them,
is
Martin.
the
Come
root of
on,
all
man.
evil. Let's not use the Bible to, justify your personal feelings, okay?
Thank you.
And when it comes down to sex, that wasn't like the pastor didn't get up there and talk about that because of course we had children in church and stuff like that. But from my personal experience, let me say this, and I'm so 100% truthful on this. I've been hurt in the church badly, okay?
Mhm.
I got cheated on more than once. Same person, okay?
Mhm.
And we would have counseling with the same pastor. Now, the bulk of when it comes in, it's like, so what made you cheat? Are you, and these are questions I remember. What made you cheat? Are you mad? Are you angry because you cheated, or are you more angry because you got caught? So I
Mm.
heard him asking him those couple of questions. The rest of the counseling hour was on me. You got to learn to forgive. You got to learn that in this marriage, you're going to go through stuff and you got to make sure you don't hold unforgiveness and harbor unforgiveness and walk in the spirit of unforgiveness. You don't hold stuff over your husband's head. You have to let go. You have to. And I said, why does it always feel like he's getting a smack on his hand? But I'm being condemned for not forgiving him, but he's not equally being not
That ain't
condemned,
right.
but spoken to
Right.
about it. But I found out that the pastor was cheating.
See, see,
So
that
I've
ain't right,
been
man.
hurt in the church. I've been hurt in the church. And it's like I said, I literally got beat up on because, yeah, I was hurt. Yeah, I could have, God said forgive, but just like Chris Rock's situation, you can't put a time limit on when somebody heals.
Man,
Now
come
I'm
on,
not
man.
saying that I should have just kept throwing in his face. If you're gonna stay, then you need to try to work it out. Every little situation, you don't need to try to bring up the past. I
Right.
understand, but that's easier said than done. When you
It
hurt
is.
somebody, just because you shoot me, apologize for shooting me, don't mean that the wound still ain't there. Don't mean that I'm not still hurting. Don't mean that I'm not still bleeding because you shot me. Yeah, you apologize. Yeah, I forgive you. Okay, I still love you. But I'm still
Mhm.
sad. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. So I just feel like in the church community, period, like I have been so, man, you need to forgive and you need to do this. And yeah, we both have different
Wow.
experiences with it. But to kind of jump back on this whole man woman thing, I just really feel like there's different reasons why people cheat.
Yeah,
It's different reasons
me
why
too.
women cheat. Women cheat for some real jacked up for issues. Women just like they want to go out and experience different people. He ain't bringing it like she want him to bring it, so she go out and mess with such and such. Tyrone over here, you may be with the good boy, the good guy, and he's really, really let's go to bed, cut the light off, close the blinds, and he's just really, really, but she want her a bad boy. She want her somebody who gonna spice it up. So
Mhm.
go ahead and get with a deadbeat Tyrone, and he doing that particular part, but your man at home paying all the bills. Like I've heard so many different, and I'm speaking about women. So I know that men as well cheat for different reasons. I know, and that nothing is right. Nothing
Right.
is right, but there are. I've been told before by my ex. I was insecure with myself. I had low self esteem, so I wasn't used to women coming up to me. So when women finally did start approaching me, I just didn't know how to turn them down. But I had to be the victim of that. You know what I'm saying? Because you got low self esteem, or I just don't know how to be alone, and you was upset with me, so I just needed comfort. So I was upset with you because you got comfort the last time. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like
Right.
it's,
Right.
it's a no-win situation. But I also feel like y'all been doing it since day one.
I can't deny that. I can't deny that at
Up
all.
here shaved her head and did what y'all did. Now y'all mad. Now y'all mad. Cause she kept
No,
wearing chains. Man
me
up.
personally, I'm gonna tell you how I feel about that situation. Before I do that, though, I'm glad you said what you just said because if a woman cheats on a man, it's women out here that feel like the only reason that a woman would go out, especially multiple times, is because the man is bringing a bigger package outside than I'm glad you said what you said because you got some women that honestly think hey, it must have been because you're not blessed
Mhm.
down, and it's like that ain't the only reason why women cheat. That ain't the only reason.
It's not.
Men don't only cheat because they're dogs. Sometimes we, as men, have cheated because we're not getting what we need at home. And it ain't because of size. It ain't because of nothing. It's not because of nothing graphic. Sometimes it's just ain't nothing going on at home. Sometimes a man is a dog. Sometimes a man does it because he has put out there, hey, I want to try some different things. And this is what I've been saying to you since day one. And we never tried nothing different. And it
Mhm.
ain't just about sex. It's just, hey, I want to try something different. And no, 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 I'm holier than thou. So, and it's like, oh,
Right.
okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay, this is how you want to do this. So,
Mhm.
um, I wanted to make another point. Man, I lost my train of thought, Nikki, but it was another point I wanted to make. Um, as you was just saying something at the end there.
Jada shaved her head and manned up.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. But yeah, she really did. But oh man, it was something I was gonna allude to. Oh, so yeah. W- With Jada,
Mhm.
the thing about that is me, I don't feel like possibly 85% of the men or the women, because there's some women that feel like, hey, we'll need to go. And that's my thing.
Mhm.
Even if it's me, if I'm doing the wrong thing, I think a woman needs to, hey, get up out of there. Hey, if you getting beat on, if you getting cheated on, especially either one of them, I would tell anybody, leave. I was talking
Mhm.
to De'Ara and I say, hey, if it gets to the point to where as I tell you, I don't want you no more. I don't need you around here asking me why. What did I do? No, we don't need to. If a person don't want you, have enough self-esteem and enough self-love to get up out of there. Like, hey, I want me. And I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure somebody else gonna want me. You ain't got to fine.
Mhm.
I cry. Give me my half a year or a year to mourn and
Yeah.
be sorry. Hey, but hey, 2024 come back strong, dear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody will love you. And I'm saying that as a man. And now that's where I am with Will and Jada.
Mhm.
Dude, if I can say that about me, sometimes, whether it's Will, whether it's Clint, whether it's Dear, whether it's Nikki, whether it's the church, and I wish the church would start doing this. Sometimes people just not for each other,
Mhm.
and we need to quit trying to keep people together. Man,
Yep.
sometimes people would tell you, man, hey, I really don't want you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, we call them a simp. Don't be one, doc. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not telling you to every time somebody get cheated on, or every time somebody has a physical altercation, it's for you to leave. I'm not saying that. I would never be an advocate for divorce in that way. But if somebody keeps showing you they don't want you,
Yeah,
at
that's showing you
some
for a
point,
reason.
dog, it is too many doors, exits in your home.
Mm-hmm.
Even in apartments, they got a patio door, man. Unless you stay upstairs, go down
Mm-hmm.
the fire escape somewhere, man. Don't stay in no doggone relationship with somebody keep showing you they don't want you. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I'm saying. I ain't even mad because she's a woman doing what men do. Hey, I understand. I understand seed time and harvest. You plant the
Mm-hmm.
seed, it may take some time, but you're gonna get your harvest. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just say anybody in a situation to whereas a person don't want you, man,
Yep.
get up out of there. If you know it ain't gonna get no better. That's all I'm saying. That's all
Pray
I'm saying.
about it. And like you said, everybody ain't for everybody. Just because two people look good together don't mean they meant to be together. Just because two people got money don't mean that they need to
Come
be
on.
together. Like Clint said, they going through all the proverbs trying to find a Proverbs 31.
Man, that's too many scriptures.
There's too
You
many go
missing
through.
too many women. You
Too
messing with
many
too
go
many
through.
on top. Hey, and I'm pretty sure there's some diseases out there we ain't never heard of.
Baby,
I
listen.
don't want no positive.
Listen.
I don't want no positive. Look, Nikki, I'm gonna say this before we go. I I'm glad I met De'Ara because we can sit around and laugh.
Mhm.
Because I'm looking at myself now on camera. Man, I done showed all my teeth all through this podcast. All I do is smile. And I have been considered childish. I have been considered immature.
Mhm.
Uh, um, it takes, I don't want to say a special, I hate using that word. It takes a different
Mhm.
type of woman to be with me because I cannot
Mhm.
sit around and be mature. And my wife thinks I'm sexy. I can't be sexy all day. It just can't be,
Right, right.
laugh like you got your hat to the back, and I know Sean don't have no problem with that. Sometimes, man, let's
Mhm.
just let our hair down and hey,
Just be
it's
cool. Be you. Yeah.
yeah. Either way, we've this has been an interesting episode. I love it.
Yeah, we gotta do a
Uh,
part two. We gotta
we
come back.
got to. But hey, this is Nikki Dance Angel and Clint with Clint Speaks, y'all, and we're out.